Oh my god, they can see us. Oh, what's going on? We have faces. We're trying something new. We're trying
This is-
something new.
We're testing this out. And how
Do you like it? Do you not? It's actually us reacting,
is.
I guess, kinda. You can see us. I don't usually move my hands this much. Maybe I do. Who knows? Who
We need
knows?
to be more aware of what we're doing. I can't fidget about with as much now. Because like half the
That's
time
true.
during these recording, I'm just spouting a lot of stuff or having like messing about with something in my hands. I think I probably picked up on the
What
mic
are you
half the
messing
time.
about with in your hands? Excuse me. Jesus. Okay. Yikes. Nobody wanted to see. Okay. Maybe we shouldn't do the video. Okay. So
This was a mistake.
this was a mistake. This was a huge mistake. But okay. Orphan 55.
Anyway,
We
on
just
to Doctor
finished.
Who. What the fuck was that?
That was. Oh.
What
Yeah,
the fuck was that? That was a mess.
That
That
was-
was an
yeah.
utter mess. Like, I think I could go with every single scene and break down 100 issues
Yeah.
with that. It was. I don't think I've been this riled up and angry about a Doctor Who episode in a very, very long time. I mean it. That was shit.
I didn't hate
so
it that much.
bad.
I didn't hate it that much. Okay, wow. Okay, I thought it was a mess, definitely for sure. I like how the start
Nothing
of it went.
worked.
It felt
Sorry.
like it was kind of a Seventh Doctor kind of setup. But his first season, so not the
Honestly,
good season.
For me, it felt like the first 5-10 minutes of it felt like kind of a low quality Russell T episode,
Yeah.
but with like no setup at all. Like they just
Yeah.
oh, we need to get to the action immediately. Let's get to the action with this awkward, clunky dialogue where we're like, "Oh, you're doing this," and then I'm going to explain about exactly what this is, despite the
Yeah.
fact that the characters already know it, which is a constant throughout the entire dialogue in this episode, which makes the whole thing feel really, really awkward. But then they jump straight into the action, and it's not even like good action
No.
in the slightest.
I thought the monsters, what were they? The dregs. I don't know how they got their name, but I thought they were good designs and they were interesting. I just thought that they went in the least interesting direction with the Orphan 55 planet. It was so obvious it was going to be Earth. Kind of when they were like, nuclear war killed it and the rich people left. I was like, it's going to be Earth, isn't it? And these are going to be the humans left. And that was just
It's
the
a
most
few
boring.
things. It blatantly disregards like later episodes because episodes take place in the future of Earth, and
Yeah.
it's not like this.
Well, they didn't give it a specific
And
year.
second of all,
So
like I mean, again, jumping straight to the end, but they completely ignore the fact of fixed points in time.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Like,
every
The
time.
show's established rules for the last almost 60 years now is like certain things are fixed, certain things have to happen, which usually go along with like these big events.
Yeah.
Big,
Something like this would be a
what
kind of
is bigger than like the world being nuked and like
Everyone
becoming
having to
this
leave,
weird? That'd be a fixed point in time. If they've seen it, that'd surely be a fixed point in time. But no, the Doctor's like, oh, you can change this if you can believe it. I mean, I get that that's like in a way supposed to be like a slant at the audience, but it's like that blatantly disregards the entire show's like rule set.
Yeah, I guess with that it's like, but yeah, like the fixed points. So like Pompeii, it's like every timeline converges on Pompeii and it has to happen, and then it kind of then goes off into a billion webs of different, and they all conjoin at different points. But something like that, I don't know. I felt like
would be a fixed point in time.
It was just the boring way to go. I felt like it would have been more interesting if, say, it was actually set years in the past and actually it was Mars or something like that. Like even before the Ice Warriors, like that could be the early Ice Warriors before they became what they were. But actually, there was a civilization on Mars, which then we left there, and then so it was like we destroyed Mars. Don't do the same to Earth, kind of thing. That would have been at least slightly more interesting, I think, than the very like as soon as it's Earth and they're the humans. Like I lost. It was a bit of a mess, but I was still actually having a good time until that point where the messaging's fine. I don't mind Doctor Who being political. It's always been political. Most of John Pertwee's episodes are political. That was fine. I thought the end dialogue was a bit clunky though.
It's
Then with
more
the
subtle
Raw,
than
I don't
that.
know that. Yeah, it's like there's
Even as it's worse, like
it's like Doctor Who when it's been political, it's been better when it's been more subtle than what it that
yeah,
blatant. But I get it. At the moment, yes, we are in a very bad time. I mean, you look at the Australian wildfires, and it's awful, awful, like the stuff you're seeing. And yeah, this is like the time to really actually change, and actually do a lot of, looking after the planet, getting rid of plastics, you know, cleaning up our own shit basically, which we've, shat on over all the world, and looking after, the animals. It is important. It is an important message. So I'm not too against that. It was just more
the inherent
the
message is a
delivery of it.
solid one.
It
Yeah.
was the delivery of the message rather than actually me having an issue with the message. I completely 100% agree
Oh,
with the message.
absolutely.
It
I
it
agree.
was
It
the
was just
delivery
done
which
in
was a bit,
such a terrible way.
yeah.
The characterization was terrible for like all the new characters. It like
See, this
felt
is the
really
issue.
inconsistent and
This
not
is the issue.
really.
Yeah, this is the issue. When you have so many companions, you're not allowed to really introduce too many side characters for each story, because then it's
And yet
as
they tried
what
to introduce a
happened.
billion of them, and they like
Billion
all
gazillion.
like they you know. And what gets to me is the constantly like whole, especially like this main woman, whatever her face was like they're consistently going like all these kind of, oh, you're so corporate, oh, how dare you shoot him despite the fact we never saw that, oh,
Yeah,
how
I know.
dare
I
you
can't
do
believe they never
this,
showed
oh no,
that.
she killed herself, she was able to, she saved her or whatever, but it's like we never got to know her in the slightest, so we don't.
All she did
Like,
was
this
kind
seems
of,
to come out of nowhere. Like
yeah.
that suddenly everybody's like,
I'm gonna
"Oh,
kill
let's
myself.
hate this woman now. Let's hate. She built this place. Let's hate her now."
Yeah.
It didn't seem to come out of anywhere. We didn't spend any time with her in the slightest beforehand. So it just suddenly like, why are we hating this person all of a sudden? Because she wants to make money. I
Money.
think a lot of people like to make money.
Money.
Okay, she's done it on an inhospitable planet.
Ah, but she was a bad mum as
So.
well. Ah,
Oh
she
no,
was
she
a
didn't
bad
come to
mummy.
her birthday, Nick! She
She
didn't
was
come
never
to her
there.
birthday!
Well, she was never there at all.
That
But
deserves
not
blowing
gonna
up her
lie.
entire life's work just
Yeah.
because she wouldn't come to her
And it's
birthday.
like, why would you resent? I'm sorry if you've grown up resenting someone that much. Clearly, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it
Be a
sucks.
better
It sucks.
person, just like,
Yeah, it's like, get on with your own life. Don't
yeah, exactly.
be dragged down by this other person. And then the redemption at the end. It's like, what? No
Like,
way.
how
Wouldn't
she.
happen. What I don't get is like the really interesting thing where it was like, will you marry me? Yes.
It
Can you
wasn't really
then shoot me?
interesting, but.
No. But actually, we didn't see him get shot. Like that would have been the interesting bit.
We didn't get to see what happened to him because it's just like when you see me shoot me, and then we get to see him like he is outside, but we don't get to see what actually happened to him. Like, what kind of state was he in? What were they doing to him?
What did
like,
they actually
nothing.
do?
They just did a bunch of awkward cuts around everything. When suddenly they dash out, and then the woman's lying on the ground, and then they drag her around and whatever. But we don't get like why is she suddenly lying on the ground? What the editing in this episode is such a mess because they cut every single scene so blimming quickly.
Well, it was.
And it's like you don't get a time to sit on anything, and the dialogue just ends really much like so far before you feel like it should stop. Nothing gets developed. It's just like, let's talk a little bit. Let's explore the characters for like 2 seconds, then cut somewhere else. Oh, look, cut somewhere else. Oh, hey, look, the systems are going down. We need to create this wave. Cut somewhere else. Oh, Graham's suddenly running about looking for cut. It's just.
Yeah, I felt like that Ryan thing could have been a really
mess.
powerful moment, whereas like Ryan is dead. Like, I thought they should have held that up for much more of the episode where they were actually apart, and Graham genuinely genuinely believes that Ryan died and perished in the attack. Like, how interesting would that have been? Rather than, oh my god, Earth is destroyed. Like,
that's how they do it.
It's
but...
it's. I feel like this script just chose every option was just the boring choice of
this
what
feels
could
like
happen.
A first draft.
This
feels like
a
first draft.
Like a really, yeah, it does feel like. And funny enough, though, he was one of the earliest to be brought on, so he had the most time to be working on it. And it wasn't even. It was the 4th episode filmed as well, so there was the whole first, block of filming before this one even happened. So
what was even up with those green-haired characters? Like, what purpose did they serve to anything? Like, they had this weird character arc where the kid's just like, no, I don't like you anymore. I'm gonna step outside.
Oh
Oh, I'm
yeah,
gonna
like I'm
get
gonna
him.
go get
I'll
myself
find him again.
killed. Like I'm
And then
sorry,
suddenly, like
I'm
five
sorry.
seconds
No
later,
matter how much of a freaking argument I'd have with my dad, I wouldn't then go. You know what? Might just go kill myself and get eaten alive. You know, I'm
except
sorry.
he didn't even
No
do
kid
that.
would
He
do
just kind
that.
of wandered about,
And then he
hid
hides.
somewhere,
Yeah,
and then suddenly his motivations changed.
yeah.
Like, where? What? Why?
Don't ask me, man. Yeah,
Anything else?
no really good music again. I'd say
Yeah.
sadly.
Well, that generally, yeah, that's been generally the case. Although
I'd
it's a little bit
say
disappointing since we actually noticed it last time.
I'd say it
But
was just rubbish. Really, just bad pacing. Too many characters. For its own
yeah,
good. For its own
it
good.
didn't feel like it knew where it wanted to go beyond. We want to make this huge, impactful environmental message by ripping off Planet of the Apes.
Well, it's just like it's when she turned. She was like, "Yaz, I want you to run." It would have been way more powerful if that's when the guy died, and he sacrificed his life for his wife of 46 years. Well, not even wife, partner of 46 years. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been more powerful there if he got down on one knee. And that's the thing. I thought they were going to do this running gag throughout the episode of every time he tried to propose, it just never quite happened. And then he proposes, and then he sacrifices himself. Like, that would have been fucking powerful. I felt
I mean,
that is the route I would
that's
have
what they
gone.
tried to do with the radio, I think.
Yeah, but we didn't
again,
even see him fucking die. He died off screen. It
they
wasn't even
half-assed
impactful.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even care about these. Like, we had those characters for like established in one scene, and then suddenly the rest of the time they're running about doing stuff, and the guy goes stupidly out for her hat, and then gets
He didn't
for
even
some
get
reason
out. He
not
was just lagging
immediately
behind.
killed like everyone else, but
Yeah.
gets dragged about a bit. Like, what's even happening with? Is he just being like carried on the backs of these creatures, or are they just, what are they even
Yeah.
doing with it? How are they moving him that fast?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, if they can move that fast, why did they never move that fast for the rest of the episode? I thought they were really well shot to start with, though, and I thought they were really cool. It's just, I'm just disappointed that it was humans. I just knew it as soon as I guessed it was humans. I was praying that it wasn't gonna be, but
Yeah. When they said the first bit, I was just like, it probably is. And then when I saw the trees when they're outside, it's just like, oh, it
trees,
absolutely
yeah,
is.
I'm like, why would
It's like-
there wouldn't be if trees wouldn't survive without no wait, carbon dioxide, yeah, so they would. And then they'd be putting out oxygen. Oh, I don't know. Who knows?
I think they put
just
more
yeah.
thought into this than the writers did.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's a shame because I thought the setup was solid. I thought the first 5 minutes I was like, okay. Just before it really kicked off, I was like, okay.
Like I said, it just felt so much like a low quality David. Even in the first 5 minutes,
I
like
thought
because they did.
Hyphen with a
Jodie
three
really,
was
really
nice.
acts like David Tennant's here, and then she uses a psychic paper and everything. It's like,
Yeah, I think
this
they're
is-
trying to
But
replicate.
when did we lose this?
They're trying to replicate the golden years of New Who, basically.
Well, was this just like somebody pitched this to Russell T back in the day and he rejected it for being too shit, and then they just held on to it for years and just came back to Chris? Hey, I got a script here. I'm just
It's
gonna
the
change
first
who the name's
draft.
about.
But I promise it's perfect. You don't even need to read it. We're just gonna go straight for the shoot. Yeah.
Change Yaz. Change Rose to Yaz. Change
Mickey to
Ryan.
Ryan and
Ryan to Mickey.
yeah, and who could the horse from Girl in the Fireplace. It was gonna be the episode after
and,
that
then, and then Graham to from Jackie to Graham.
one. Jackie to Graham, yeah. I've got my speedos on. I thought, yeah, it's frustrating. Every time that they can, there could be a powerful companion moment. Like, if he'd believed, like, the whole episode that Ryan was dead, you know? And, like,
Yeah,
he
because
could get
that
angry
might
at the
have made it more
Doctor.
interesting if the Doctor,
And
Yaz,
it
and the
would
main
be- and
party
it
were
would
going
be-
off on one
yeah.
adventure, and then Ryan and what's her face girl went
Bella.
off on a completely
Yeah.
separate adventure. Which they kind of split them off right at the end for like
No
2
reason,
minutes.
yeah.
Oh, look, we planted a bomb. Oh, I didn't mean for that one to go off. Oh no, I'm having second thoughts. I never really thought about this, despite having resented her for how long. It's
Yeah, I'm gonna kill innocent
what
people
the...
because I want to get revenge on my mum, who I've never met. So why do I
She
really care that
didn't
much?
come to her birthday, Nick.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. That's unforgivable. You know, after missing the first 10, you know, you'd expect her to come to number 11, but she just didn't. And oh, you know, that's unforgivable. Okay, no, I completely side with Bella. Actually, you know, blow up that damn Tranquility Spa, whatever it was called. Um, the thing I would say, oh yeah, shit, when fucking, so Yaz and Ryan are going down the hallway, kind of just dilly dallying with the bomb, and they're kind of like, they haven't got to their location yet. Obviously, they're trying to get somewhere else. They see the dregs and they run away. There's only fucking 8 seconds left when they run away. I'm like, if the dregs weren't there, you would have just kept wheeling this bomb until it exploded in your faces. They weren't running anywhere. Like shit, this is about to go off. They were like, they were like shopping. They were in like fucking Sainsbury's going down the aisles, and then
Well,
they
Ryan
saw.
was thinking about that one girl, and
Yeah.
Yaz was thinking about how little she had to do.
Oh, that makes sense. But yeah, and then they run off, and then suddenly the whole thing explodes. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I don't just yeah, and they both died at the end, which was a ballsy move. To be fair, I thought they were gonna.
Really?
I thought, Doctor, just use your TARDIS. Skirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a fixed point in time, though. They had to die, but only this timeline.
They
You
had
see.
to save the human race, except the human race is already dead.
Dead.
So
Well, only on Earth, not on the other planets.
True.
And then a couple years later, the sun expands and Cassandra's up above.
well, a couple.
Who knows?
don't think it'd be
They
a
never
couple of
said.
years
They never
later.
said. They never said.
Yeah, to be fair, they never specified when this was, but I think the Doctor talked more positively about the human empire and whatnot
Yeah.
when we actually
They
were
evacuated. Apparently not. The dregs were
Yeah,
left.
he didn't mention that though during End of the World. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. Ah, man. Just yeah. There were parts I like loosely enjoyed, but yeah,
I think this is the
messy.
worst Jodie Whittaker episode. I'm gonna say it. I think this is by far the worst because at least even in the last, like, I hated stuff like Arachnids in the UK and Ghost Monument, but at least they were structured
Yeah,
properly.
I would.
Even if the content inside them wasn't. This just wasn't.
There was a clear.
This was just a bunch of. There was just a bunch of ideas thrown at a wall and just like, yeah, that'll do. That's our episode.
What's annoying, I find, is freaking. I feel sorry for Jodie because she keeps being given Sonic Ex Machina finishes, and it's unfair to her Doctor because I think she's the oldest out of all the Doctors. She should be the smartest, And the issue is
Yeah.
like last episode. Oh, we just went back to Barton's office. I went back a little earlier and I bribed the architect first,
Yeah.
It's basically that.
I mean, also,
I went back to just before now and I sonicked it so that it would shut down if it, and then it's like.
well, to be
And then
fair,
this time-
that was always an inherent issue with the Doctors because, I mean, even looking back as far as the three Doctors, the first Doctor was like portrayed as the smartest and wisest of them, despite the
funny
fact
that,
that he
isn't
should
it?
be the youngest of them.
Well,
So, like,
yeah.
that's always been a problem in the show. It's just like technically the Doctor should be this old, but when you meet other Doctors, they kind of, depending on the actual the
Personality, I
character,
guess,
the
yeah.
actor's age, they tend to act as if they are. That's always been a thing. That's always been a thing.
I just
I
feel sorry
won't hold
'cause
them to
she
that,
keeps
but
being
I'll hold them
given
to a lot of other
Sonic, like when she made the membrane Sonic, she'd done it all from a room. I don't know, I just feel like we haven't got anything different yet. Like a real out the box.
Oh yeah,
Jodie
what about that
saves the
scene
day.
with the Drax thingy, like
Dreg.
when they locked him in the room, and then they were like, "Come in, and you need us to survive," and like that was like
Yeah,
if
it's
the
like-
creature has enough intelligence to figure out, to know that it needs this carbon dioxide to live, and we're producing it, and then I won't attack you here while I'm still in it. You know, it's like, if it has that much intelligence, then why is it being portrayed as a mere like dumb attacking creature? Like what?
Yeah, it's a weird. It was
What is intelligent? Like if they were humans, then surely some of that
humanity
stuff,
would still be there.
yeah, something.
How much is
But
still there? If you can remember the bombs and all the stuff that she saw in the head, then they're
yeah.
not that old. Like I would have
Also,
done it.
why
I would
did
have done it
what?
generations after, so they've completely lost all humanity. So that when you see,
Yeah, yeah. How would it know?
yeah,
Unless they've
they were
somehow
the
been made
first
like their
mutants.
lifespans expanded like because of reasons.
I mean, they didn't have any genitals, so I don't know how they're mating either. Just saying. And they all
I
look
don't.
the same. Just saying, if you're mutating, like this has to be generations afterwards if they're all looking the same,
Either the
relatively.
generations afterwards,
But then it
or
wouldn't have the
well, the
memories of
doctor
the.
was like, "Oh, except for the few that survived."
There was
So
fucking tons.
I think she was implying that they just continue to live. Like somehow, whatever happened expanded their lifespan to
Mm,
continue beyond. I suppose maybe.
yeah. Yeah, I just too many side characters. That is where it collapsed. Too many characters, and that's what ruined the
Oh
whole
no!
thing.
It collapsed when you started hearing the dialogue. I think.
Yeah, but the issue is the dialogue is just crap because there's too many people talking, and you gotta make sure that
I
everyone
wasn't
says
just that.
something at
Like,
some point.
even when there was like a couple of characters in the room, the dialogue, like I said, it was just a mess. Like a lot of it just kind of came down to the doctor says, "Oh, this is a thing," and now I'm going to explain to you why this thing does this thing, despite the fact that you as a character will know why this thing does
The
this.
whole fucking bit. Oh my god! Actually, um, the bit when they just came to the wall, and they showed the hole in the wall. Bring on the wall! Did you ever watch that show? Hole in the Wall. Oh, that was a good show.
Yeah.
What a game show. But there was the hole in the wall, and she explains what it is. Graham walked into the wall, which I chuckled at that bit. And then Yaz comes over and goes, "Oh my god, you won't believe this." Blah 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 blah. And it's like, "Yeah, we know." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, we know. It's
But where
like
did she see
it
that?
wasn't even funny. It wasn't worth it for the any. It didn't
Yeah.
clarify anything. It didn't move the scene on. It was
And
literally
we never got to see her even see the
and
other
yeah.
side of the wall. Like it wasn't like a revelation to her beforehand. She just suddenly appeared, and it was
It
like,
said the
"Oh,
same
guys,
things.
this is happening
Look at this
for
map.
like reasons."
It was literally, guys, he's on the other side of a wall. That's all she should have said. Like literally, that should have been out in like draft 5 of the script. Like that kind of dialogue. First, you get the story down. You get your really shitty first draft down. You just got to get it down because it's quite hard. And then you read through it and then you do your small changes and you're like, right, you'd send it off to Chibnall, or he should read it and be like, right, okay, there's the feedback. Then you probably take out half the scenes. I mean, I'm working on a script at the moment. My first draft looks absolutely nothing like draft 12 that I'm on now. And, it should like, dialogue like that should just be taken out because it doesn't move the story forward. Every piece of freaking dialogue should be a bit more. I do like the fact that Jodie's getting those darker moments, like at the start, which is like, I've not been in a mood. That I was like, okay, cool. At least we're getting some continuous continuity of this storyline.
Slightly.
And at the end, where they were kind of questioning, it's like, when did you know? And she was like, oh, when I saw the sign. But I'm sure she knew, obviously, a lot before that. So I'm hoping,
Well,
like,
no,
for
she
some.
said slightly before you did. So when she got the mind thing is when she knew.
Nah, because she saw the. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there should be some distrust coming up now in the companions, being like, wow, we trusted you completely blindly in Series 11. Fuck. Wait, we don't know who you are. All these bad things do happen around you. But I just
Hmm.
don't feel they're going to go that route, and it's just
Yeah,
really
you're going to be
frustrating.
gutsy enough.
That's the issue. It's just not gutsy enough. It's just too safe. And that's the issue. It's like playing it safe by making it Earth. It's like, okay, that's, it's hard hitting for us to hear, I guess. I can understand that, but I
It
don't
would
know.
appear if they'd done it right. But again, we've seen things do this before. As I said, Planet of the Apes. This is
Yeah,
just
it is
really crap Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Dregs. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
They should have come across. Oh no, they were in Russia though. No, wait, where were they? Where were
Yeah,
they? Where? Oh,
Siberia.
Siberia. That was it. There's nothing classic in Siberia. They should have come across Monkey Abraham Lincoln. Been like, you maniacs! No, like Dreg Abraham
Well, not
Lincoln.
thinking about the original one, but okay.
Oh, I'm doing the awful.
The Burton
Yeah. I'm
version.
gonna make the Burton version, but we do it Dreg Abraham Lincoln. You maniacs! Yeah. Oh man, it's frustrating. I think um
Like I said, I
it's
think this is the worst Jodie Whittaker episode. Like, period.
I'd say slightly more watchable than Ghost Monument. On a first watch, we'll see how I feel in a year.
Ghost Monument was so boring,
That's the
but
thing.
at least it had a structure to it, as bad as it
I
was.
think
Like,
I can.
it's hard for me to praise an episode because I hate that episode with a passion, but
Yeah.
that was something. And I
I
guess there weren't as many characters. There was somewhat of a flow to it. It didn't rush everything, and the dialogue wasn't this bad.
don't
So
know.
that's
I
that's
don't
what
know.
that's what I'm thinking. Again, that's very hard for me to praise it, considering I hate that episode too. But yeah, this was just bad on every single level, I think.
Oof. That is a big oof. Some would say. I would say. But
You say
I say.
continuously.
I'm sure other people will be saying oof at that as well. But yeah.
I'm just saying it's
Or
fucking
more.
shit. That's all I'm saying.
Orphan. This is crazy. Conrad doesn't swear, so this is a big deal for me. He doesn't drop those bombs often. So if he's dropping it
I am more recently.
more
That
recently,
might just be on the general level of stress I've got.
yeah, probably is. But
I've become bittered and aged.
yeah,
I feel like in the last 3 months I've aged about 10 years.
yeah. But I still say, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's not much to defend. I thought when they killed off characters, they killed them off weekly. Yeah, I don't know.
And they didn't even kill off the characters which they said were going to kill off all the time.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because he suddenly appeared at the end of the house he got back because
Yeah,
it was how far away and
yeah. And she would have run out of oxygen, surely. They were all running out, so how'd she fucking... Because she couldn't come up the stairwell, because they blocked that off. And then they blew up the fucking place. So, doubt she got out that way. So, who the fuck knows? But, yeah. Guess so. Next week we've got. Oh yeah. So I guess we'll just talk about what's coming up now because I think we've kind of pretty much covered Orphan 55. Yeah. So we got the next 3 names of the next 3 episodes. So we got next week is Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. Interesting name, brand new writer. Who knows? Who knows? Nina Metiva. And a brand new director, Nida Manzoor. So yeah, looks okay. I'm a bit worried that the creature shot was the same one used from the trailer. I feel like the reason why that worries me is that the best shot you have of this CG creature?
quite possibly
of the one crashing into the market stall. Like if I was trying to be like, oh, we've got a big threat coming, I wouldn't show it crashing into a stall.
Actually, that's one thing I'll mention is that I felt the budget restraints here again. I think the exact same thing that happened last season is happening here. Only it took into episode 3 to happen last year. Well, the year before last, actually, last season. Whereas in this season, it feels like we've already hit that point because
this is
some of the some of those wide shots where you saw like the creatures surrounding like the dome was like. That looks bad.
Yeah, well, you could tell it was just literally the same thing copied and pasted a load of times for the creatures, and it was a bit like, okay, so
we might not be expecting much for next week either, but I guess we'll see.
I like Nikola Tesla, and I like that whole storyline, that kind of historical point. So I do enjoy the historicals. I think that's what the Chibnall series has done strongest so far is the historical stories.
Yeah,
Rosa
yeah,
was really
yeah.
strong, and Demons
Disagree.
of a Punjab was strong, and Witchfinders was probably the weakest of those three, but I still had some
Yeah,
enjoyment
bit
from it.
mixed, but yeah, all right,
I had some
all right.
enjoyment. It was mainly the last act and how they concluded it was what was weak, but I did like the monsters. I thought they did some really good cinematography in the Witchfinders, which was really good.
Agree.
Directing by Sally Abrahamian. But yeah. Then episode 5, Fugitive of the Jadoon. I fucking called it. I told you. I said it in the last podcast. It was
You
Jadoon would
did.
be episode 5. And who was right? This guy. So yeah. So we got Fugitive.
Okay.
we got.
Are we expecting a medal?
Yes, I was. I'm hoping someone
Well, I
will.
don't have one, Nick.
Well, I will make
Despite the
myself
one
one.
I got several behind me, but I don't have one to give to
Give me
you.
one of your football medals.
No!
But yeah, so Fugitive of Jadoon in Gloucestershire, I think it is, and they're tracking someone, and I bet it will be police brutality, as you, I think, said almost a year ago when they first announced the Jadoon coming back. I bet it will be police brutality, but again, we'll see how they go with it. Then we got Paraxus, depends how they pronounce it, which is they're like the team is split up over the world again. It's like they're doing Spyfall Part 1 again. Spyfall Part 1, Part 2. Where they're splitting them across the world, which I think is obviously the birds attacking in the trailer. So, there we go. Which one of those next three are you most excited for, would you say?
After this episode, I'm not really excited for anything.
Let's keep the positivity up. Okay, let's not. Don't
Uh,
hate on what you haven't seen yet. That's
Dune, I guess.
that's what I'd say. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. But I don't know. I do like the historicals, so we'll see. And new writer for the Nikola Tesla one, so that would be good. So that's fresh blood. So hopefully a fresh feel to it. Then the fugitive one is the Jadoon is Vinny Patel, who did Demons of a Punjab, which was decent. And then we got Pete McTeague. Who did, yeah, who did Kablam! Exclamation mark. Doing the Parexus one.
Okay.
So
So we might be in decent
I think
hands
yeah,
there.
because I thought Kablam! Actually was a really solid story. I think it just would have done better with a higher budget, basically.
Yeah.
I thought it did. That's the thing. It's so difficult in 50 minutes to tell a story with 4 main characters. Not gonna lie, that if I was fucking writing it and I was in charge, I'd just sideline one of the characters for the whole story. I'd be like, right, okay, this episode is Graham and Ryan. Next episode is Yaz and Ryan. Episode after that is Yaz and Graham. And then, maybe in a 2-parter, then, okay, they can all have some input. But for some episodes, I just have to sideline them. It's like freaking Sontaran Experiment back in... Like, there was only 3 companions, but because they had so many side companions in Sontaran Experiment, they sidelined Harry Sullivan for most of episode 2, really. He's just climbing through the old tube lines.
Yeah.
That
is true.
Sontaran Experiment. I wonder where that would fit in this timeline. Because it'll be after we left Earth, so it's got to be ages after the dregs.
Yeah, the whole
enough for the
Arch
dregs
plot,
to die out. Enough for the dregs to die out, and then the grass would grow. And yeah, we'll work on the timeline. Because Sontaran Experiment is a fixed point in time. But yeah, and then we'll see. Then we got Charlene James, the episode after that. Then Maxine Alderton, and then Chibnall 2-part finale. So we'll see. I'm still gonna stay positive. I thought Spyfall was solid. Orphan 55 was Ed Heim. Not really. I mean, Chibnall probably should have had better control over that one. But to be honest, I think Spyfall Part 2 was in that block as well, and he was probably concentrating on that. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Although
Part
he had
two.
a year to work on this. Like, they took a year off.
Well,
Why isn't this all sorted?
they didn't take a year. They took a couple months later. So what they should have done is because they wrapped pretty much before even the series basically went out. They wrapped in like freaking September, and the first episodes were going out in October. And really, then what they should have started shooting was basically, November. They should have started shooting the next series really to then be back on track and not leave it so late. But they waited until after Christmas and they started recording in January. So then they, filmed for ages. But to be fair, in this time they have done this special for this year or next year, who knows. But they have done that, to be fair. So they are, it seems, ahead of schedule. But it depends. Hopefully they start
coming at the cost of this episode.
Hopefully they start filming the next series, February, yeah, really. February, early March. And then it would just be in time for later January. So, it wouldn't be exactly a year, but later January. It's ridiculous it's taken so long for each series, really, in my opinion. They managed it before. I don't get why it's taken so much longer. Surely.
But Nick, it's so much higher quality CG, except it isn't in the slightest. It actually looks probably worse than it did in Series 10. So.
Yeah, I would say actually, like, I don't know. I thought High Formula 3 was nice. It reminded me quite a bit of like kind of shitty classic Aliens, like classic Doctor Who. And I was like, that's a nice kind of going a bit retro, but then they just killed her a kind of off screen, and that's the thing. It's like, what were these aliens actually doing to them? What were ripping them apart? Were they eating them? Do they need food? I mean, if they need food and they need to eat people,
and
there's that
like
many of them.
The old guy was like, you have to kill me, but it's like,
what are they doing?
Then that implies maybe they're being converted.
Yeah,
but they don't really ever show that or demonstrate that on screen, so it's like we don't know.
Yeah, it was, oof. But I'm gonna push this aside. I was hoping for a fun romp. It was just a romp. But
you didn't get that.
Well, it was a romp. It was high pace and it was just a mess. It was just a messy romp, not a fun romp. So but you're always gonna get a weaker episode in the series. Let's hope, fingers crossed, this is the weakest one. I mean, there's no point living negatively. So fingers crossed, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror is a slight improvement. Maybe won't be the best, because
even a slight improvement wouldn't be that good in this episode's case. It needs to be a big improvement.
A decent improvement. Hopefully, a decent narrative.
Yeah.
3-part. Beginning, middle, and end. The usually 3-act structure works pretty well sometimes. I mean, don't tell Ed Heim, but
it's an industry secret. You can't know.
I feel like with the amount of characters, it was like he wanted a 2-parter. I don't know. It feels, I don't know, a bit sloppy. I'm a bit sad.
Really sloppy.
Sad with that one, because I know that he can do better, because It Takes You Away was really well paced. So yeah, I'm just a bit, I don't know, bit sad by that one. But I guess we'll see. I wonder. I hope he writes again. And hopefully, I don't know, has a better go, because It Takes You Away had lots of potential, but after this one, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know how to feel now, like about him, because I thought it would be one of a strong. I was quite excited for this one, so yeah, I'm disappointed. But next week, we've got a new director, new writer, a historical point which is interesting, and I'm surprised they never did in the classic era Nikola Tesla or Thomas Edison. It's kind of something I could have seen them doing in the black and white era, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, but we were too focused on bringing H.G. Wells to space.
Yeah, that wasn't black and white. That was.
Sorry.
Doctor. That was.
Okay, well, there was too focused on
the amazing time lapse. Time Lash. If viewers, if you haven't watched Many Classic, Time Lash is the one to start with. That's the one you
If
want
you
to
want to
go
be put
for.
off the show forever.
No, shh, shh. They need to see the majestic of the crystal wall. Um, we did a review for it. If you want to look for that as well, you're very welcome to. We rip into it.
If you want to see an hour of constant critiques, kind of like this actually.
I think Conrad cried at one point. Who knows? Go back and tell us. It was a very emotional time just having to watch that two-parter. Jesus. But yeah, so I guess that pretty much wraps it up. So yeah, hello. You've seen us. I mean, you've seen us before, maybe in skits.
Yeah, quite a few.
Who knows?
I mean, our faces are front and center on the channel.
That is true.
I mean,
that is true. Usually I
so
got my
I think
arms
it'd be
crossed
kind of
like
difficult to
this.
miss us. I don't have curly hair, funnily enough.
I know. That's crazy. He wears a wig. He does it everywhere. He
I
doesn't leave
don't,
the house without it.
I don't wear a wig very often. In fact, I wasn't even going to put on a wig for those photo shoots, but I forgot to take it off. So
I mean, it looked good. Oh yeah, because we did my freaking thing, didn't we, for my uni project? That was a good one.
oh yeah, we did that.
Yeah, that's when we did the rest of the photos. But yeah, so yeah, hello, people. Comment below what you thought of Orphan 55. I've been looking at Facebook, mainly negative is what I saw in the comments, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably your comments will be below. But let's live positively, guys. Let's look forward to next week. Onward and upwards. You can't get much worse than this. So
I mean, I think you can. I think you can.
I think
I wouldn't test them.
I think this could have actually. I would have quite liked a cold open. I think, like the alien attacking like one person at the edge who was trying to fix the wall and getting dragged through the wall. That would have been a really good cold open. I thought, and then
That would have been very, very Russell T.
You know,
era.
I feel like sometimes, same with Moffat and Chibnall, it's like they're doing different not because it's better, but just because they want to be different. Just because this person did it, and what can we change which it won't completely destroy the show, but which will mark mine differently? I'm gonna do this. It's like, yes, the classic era used to do it, but it didn't make it better just because the classic era did it. Cold opens are great because, you know, the issue is someone is, you know, flicking through channels and a title sequence isn't going to make someone keep watching. If you're flicking through and then you're saying, oh, what the hell's this show? This person's fixing a wall. Oh, then they get dragged through the wall by this claw. What the fuck is this show? Title credits come on. Okay. Oh, right, this is Doctor Who. Well, actually, this looks interesting. I don't usually watch Doctor Who, but let's give it a try. But if you just flick onto the title sequence, what is there to captivate you and to keep you in? That's the point of a cold open. It's so the people from the end of the last program, which they were watching, continue to watch because they're like, oh, what's going on here? Usually they introduce it on BBC. They go, up next is Doctor Who. But say you're flicking through, like the cold open is a really good hook, you know. That's why
everybody knows the Doctor Who opening, so everybody will clearly click on and stay on it, right?
They're more likely going to turn off.
Despite the fact that the viewing figures are probably at the lowest they've been in a very, like, practically ever. Like,
well, yeah. The issue is with viewing.
I mean, we don't have the iPlayer.
Yeah, we need the iPlayer before that's really concluded on. We'll see when it's iPlayer because
but the overnight figures were considerably higher last series.
Yeah, last series. Yeah.
I don't think, like, I know people's viewing habits have changed, but they don't change that drastically, that quickly. I don't think. Like, it's not in the context of how everything will be. I can see it dropping to like 6 million, maybe 5 million as a push, but all the way like to around 4 million. It's like there's something wrong here.
Yeah, well, we'll see when Spyfall Part 1 iPlayer stuff comes on, which should be this week. We'll see how many more. If it jumps up to 7, then that's really, really good. And and about
Ish, although that was the overnight figures we were getting like at the beginning of series 10.
yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah,
even then, it's like
I generally think Sunday is just not a good day. It's just not a good day. People on Sundays are doing homework, getting ready for bed. You know, for the younger ages, you're doing homework usually on a Sunday, or you're getting ready for work the next day. You know, TV isn't really what I'm thinking about on Sunday night. I'm not like, to me, I'm more like getting
yeah.
stuff ready for like the week, or I'm thinking about work, or I'm thinking about. It's Sunday to me just isn't like Doctor. I'd prefer a Friday night to a freaking, you know, Sunday. Actually, I don't think Friday
No,
would
no,
do
not
very
a
well.
weekday. I think a weekday's not.
It just should be
But
Saturday. It should be Saturday.
I think the BBC are getting kind of conflicting data here because, of course, Series 10, well, Series 10 didn't exactly set the world of did actually pretty poorly in terms of its ratings, and then of course Jodie Whittaker comes in, the ratings are suddenly up, and they moved it to Sunday, so it's like clearly this works, and then this series drops to about what it was for before.
I'll tell you
So
why
it's
though.
like
The reason why it worked for Sunday for that time of the year is because Strictly Come Dancing's on, and when Strictly Come Dancing is on, that's like a 2 hour show. And it pushes Doctor Who either really late or ridiculously early. So being on Sunday makes perfect sense for the autumn period. But for this period, there's nothing on Saturdays. There's no series at the moment where I'm like, that's a Saturday show. I couldn't name you one show at the minute which is on Saturdays for BBC. I couldn't name you one show that airs in the evening because nothing's sticking out. There's no big franchise that they have which is playing at the moment on a Saturday. So why?
at least to our demographic.
To our demo, Doctor Who is the biggest sci-fi fantasy show in the world, the longest running. That is their biggest thing, kinda, for like their face. Sherlock was very big, but obviously that's ended or in hiatus, who knows. Called the Midwife is for a very certain demographic and does incredibly well, has a very loyal fan base. But your biggest thing, like Doctor Who is their biggest ish consistent thing for like larger like world proportions. Yes, Countryfile and Songs of Praise is always going to do well with the older demographic. It's, you know, it's a safe bet. You do the same show every bloody year and people tune in because it's nice. It's afternoon tea. You put it on in the background while you do the ironing kind of stuff. It draws in figures. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg to make. If you're trying to put a load into a series, why aren't you putting it in your prime time spot? I'm sorry, the amount they're spending on Doctor Who, even though this week didn't look too great, when you actually look at the amount that they're spending, why isn't that, boom, 7 p.m, Saturday? Everyone knew. Everyone knew back in the David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston, 7 p.m. Boom. You knew it. I remember it now. It was 7 p.m. or it was 7 p.m. or 7:30. Pretty sure it was 7 p.m. though. Very, very sure it was 7 p.m.
Unless the FA Cup ties push it back.
Yes.
But nearly universally it was 7.
It was like 7. You knew it. I remember it years later. I'm probably wrong and someone's going to fucking call me out.
No, it was 7.
It was 7? Yeah. Fuck yeah. See? Because I knew it. Because I know. Because it was the prime time spot. And that's why it makes sense to have it at fucking 7 p.m. on Saturday. Why it's so hard to get about it? What is on BBC at the minute? What is actually on BBC? There's like a series. Like, that you couldn't shift around for your biggest sci-fi show, the longest sci-fi show in history. Oh, you know, we'll just put that on Sunday. I don't fucking get it. Is there enough a guy who just doesn't like Doctor Who at the top? I don't get it. It's like, I don't know.
Quite possibly.
I think what the issue was they found it very hard to replace Moffat because for some reason nobody wanted the Doctor Who gig. I don't know why.
Well, there's a lot of expectations on that, of course, more than any other show, I think, because, of course, it has this long, long legacy.
Yeah.
And if you mess that up, you know, your career, and you become the person who's known as the one who tanked Doctor Who, then your career isn't going anywhere else, is it?
I guess so. But it's not just.
So
It's not
it's
like
like
the
somewhat
thing
the
is. It's not
risk.
like you're the only writer of said series. Like there's lots of other writers. So really, it's just about the creative direction that you actually have to be thinking about. You know, which at the minute is questionable.
Yeah, Doctor Who is a show with like endless possibilities to it, in terms of where you can go, what you can do, what kind of characters you bring in, what kind of character the Doctor is. There are so many things you can change to, which is why it's lasted this long, alongside, of course, its loyal fan base and everything. But they're just not really taking advantage of that. Really, I don't feel like.
Mm. Do you know what was on frickin' BBC One Saturday? Yesterday.
What? What was on Saturday?
So at 6:15, which would be, I'd say, the earliest time you could kind of put Doctor Who on and get away with it. Pointless
Yeah.
celebrities.
Okay.
with looking at the lineup, pointless celebrities, because they're not big celebrities at all. And then at 7, the classic Doctor Who spot, The Greatest Dancer, Series 2, Episode 2. It's 70 minutes long. Which,
yeah.
What is this series? Have you heard of The Greatest Dancer? Is this something?
I have, because it keeps trending on Twitter, but I don't literally know anything about it.
What is it? Is it like a show?
Dance. Yeah, actually, there was an advert for it before Doctor Who, I think. It's just some dancing show, and there was like.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, competing for the chance.
I mean, that's the kind of show which kind of, particularly the older demographics, which they're kind of like this Strictly.
It's literally
and,
like
stuff like that.
It's like the prequel to Strictly. So whoever wins it becomes the professional dancer on Strictly.
Strictly mixed with something more like
Jesus
X Factor or The Voice or something. I mean, but this sort of stuff
Put
with
that
like
on a
slightly more
Sunday. Put
very
that
personable
on
things.
a Sunday.
Like it's old people telly. That's what it is. It's old people telly.
Strictly results show is on a Sunday, so The Greatest Dancer would do fine on a Sunday. Surely, unless today there's like the part 2 where they reveal the results. Let's have a look. No, no, there's not. So there you go. Just swap those two around. I'm sorry, The Greatest Dancer probably doesn't cost as much as Doctor Who, and it's safe bettings. People are going to watch that kind of shit because they do.
So this, of course, this is assuming that it's the BBC's call and not Chibnall's.
Yeah.
Maybe Chibnall was like, "I want this Sunday for
I like
whatever
Sundays because it's different and it will make me stand out." Like it's just.
It's like when they put it on Tuesdays back in the 80s. Like, nobody blooming watched it then.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. 7 p.m. Saturday. It's just so obvious.
I think we've been on this for like 10 minutes.
It's because it's true. And, hopefully people agree if they get to this point in the video. But yeah, I think we should probably end it there. So we'll see you same time next week. Bye.
Bye.